What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and today just a discussion topic, and I'm really curious where you guys fall on the list, because one of the things that's been happening in the conversation, especially around Final Fantasy XI, is anytime that we're talking about it, posting a video about Final Fantasy XI, whether it's Ninja playing it, returning to it, playing on a private server, our experience playing Blue Mage, really anything. At the core of it ends up being that there seems to be a debate in should we play on retail or should we play on a private server? Almost kind of the WoW classic kind of scenario in which that people went and they wanted that experience, and so they made it for themselves. They got shut down by Blizzard, and then eventually Blizzard brought them into the fold, and essentially what we're seeing, obviously this summer, is the release of WoW Classic. So there is just this general question: should you play on retail or should you play on a private server? And there's pros and cons to both. It really just depends on what you're looking for. I think typically from, I'm playing on retail. I think typically the argument that I see against the private server from somebody on retail is that you're just doing it to be free, just to not have to pay a subscription. And for the most part, I would think that, especially for anybody in the classic server world, by this point in time, maybe that argument made a lot of sense back when we were all in high school and middle school, maybe even in college, when we didn't have a lot of expendable funds. But as the player population has grown, I can see that we tend to have less time and more hopefully more financial resources, more money at this point in our lives. I don't know, maybe there are some that obviously from a budgetary perspective that's the only option they have, and that's it's interesting. And that's anyway, if you're one of those people, I'd like to have that I'd like to know your perspective, if you would be playing on retail if you had the means. But that aside, that is just generally my impression, that typically that's the thought that's placed on the private server. I tend to think that's not the case anymore. Now, the question then is that are the private servers there as the market kind of dictates that, right? So is that Square-Enix is not offering something that people want. So you see, in the best case, an example right here is Ninja. He actually pays for retail, but he plays on a private server, and I honestly actually respect that degree and that level in which that he's taken that way, because it is supporting the game indirectly, but the game isn't offering what he's looking for. And so personally, I know that for anybody who's telling or saying, hey, I should go play on a private server, personally, I just don't have that kind of time. It's the private server is an era when you're at that 75 cap, when it's really hard to level up, when you really have to play with friends. That's all well and good. And if Square-Enix offered something like that, I would absolutely go and check it out for a little bit. But I can't at the moment. Maybe I'm lying to myself, or maybe I'm maybe I'm wrong in this case, but I just don't see myself actually being able to get back into that in the sense of how hardcore it used to be, how long the grind used to be. And that's just because of a work-life family balance that I have to maintain, and that I'm sure that pretty much the majority of people watching this video have to maintain. So the question is, though, is that if Square-Enix isn't offering us, or I would say us in the case that if you're looking for that challenge, what's the best way to go about it? And obviously the only way to go about it right now is a private server. So I'd leave it up to you. Like, are you playing on a private server but also then subbed to retail as a way to kind of offset that? I'm really curious about that direction, because I would say personally that's probably the best of the options out there. The best option that could possibly exist is that Square-Enix says, here's a classic server, a la WoW Classic, a la that experience. Chris said something interesting kind of about this subject the other day, and it's that he was talking about that, as our parents' generation has grown up, and then they have movies and music that they cling to, and they have those relationships with. They really enjoy that music. That music doesn't necessarily get old or repetitive. And thus our generation is starting to experience that same thing, the generation that grew up with that classic mindset, that real grind. The other side of that coin is, and this is just kind of something that I've been toying with in the back of my head, the other side of that coin is, are these modern MMOs offering, are they missing a huge market? Are they or by just their growth, are they expanding and actually competing or serving the wider market? And I think basically, if you look at the volume of WoW, if you look at the volume of Final Fantasy 14, obviously there's that market there, and that's really, really good. And they're doing a good job there. So that's a little side note, but I leave the question of you. I want to know what you guys think. What are your pros and cons for playing on a private server versus playing on the retail server for 11? Do you see it as purely a financial decision? Do you see it an act as a rebellion? Do you see it as a way to let Square-Enix know that there is interest in this? Obviously, Square-Enix knows there are private servers. These aren't secret. Square-Enix is very well aware of what Ninja is doing in this case, and Ninja has reached out to them in that regards, if you're not aware. So it will be interesting to see if something comes out of any of it. But in the meantime, what do you do? Like, if you're wanting that classic experience, I guess the best way is to go with a private server. If you're really, like me and somebody who's actually really enjoying the retail build, the enhancements and the things they've done really make it interesting. So I would encourage you guys to go check it out. If you're having trouble installing it, I've talked to several people, sometimes Windows and Play Online, they don't like to play nice. We're doing our best to kind of troubleshoot and things like that. But if you do feel like you want to come to retail, we're on Ashura. I'd love to see you. We've been having a lot of fun on Monday nights, and we're going to keep that tradition going right now. Anyway, this is the question, and hopefully, through my rambling, we've gotten some idea of where I fall on it. I think if I was to play on a private server, I would still remained subscribed in retail. I think that's the right move. I think it's the just move. I think it also then continues to let Square-Enix know that there is a massive interest in the game. I think one of the most surprising things about talking about 11 on this channel is how many people come and said, didn't they shut that game down? And if I'm the guy breaking the news to you that they never shut Final Fantasy 11 down, I actually really feel honored in that. If you guys ever played it, you're interested in checking it out, I would highly encourage you to do so. They recently just had a sale, but you can go pick it up, the whole thing, for like $30, or hopefully you're able to, recover your own character, things like that. It's really weird to be talking about this in 2018, but it's been a journey that I've really enjoyed. I've really enjoyed being able to kind of dive back into the game, and the support the community has given has been unbelievably huge. So anyway, before I just get on, a love fest about the game and the community, guys, sound off in the comments below, respectfully if all possible, private server versus public server, what it is that you want to see, and what, and how to best strike the balance. How do we as a community best communicate the demand? Because it's, any market's going to respond to a demand. So I would love to know any and all your thoughts, about this topic in the description below, in the comments below. Anyway, guys, for Work To Game, my name's Brian. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Hey guys, it's me. Oh, well, if you don't know me, my name's Terry. I'm a beautiful Tyrannosaurus from Texas, and it just doesn't get more country than that. I tell you what, I grew up in these parts. I was resurrected by a ghost, and that ghost told me that I needed to come out and hang out on Work To Game's YouTube channel to tell everybody they should totally hit that thumbs up. Thumbs down make Terry hungry. It makes me hungry. You hear me? Hungry. Anyway, Terry, just keep it together. Keep it together, Terry. All right, guys. So, with that, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and hit subscribe if you haven't already to see more of me and my beautiful nose. Okay. All right. Good talking to you. I'll see you guys soon. See you real soon. Terry, the Tyrannosaurus from Texas.